Let's start with something uncomfortable. What if everything you think defines who you are isn't really yours? What if the way you act, the values you hold, even the dreams you chase, were all shaped by forces completely outside of your control? And here's the kicker. What if the real you, the one buried under layers of habits, conditioning, and self-deception, is someone you've never even met? Today, we're going deep, down into the human mind. We're going to explore what happens when you strip away the illusions you've been living in. And we're doing it with the radical, mind-shaking insights of Friedrich Nietzsche, combined with some of psychology's most forbidden truths. By the time we're done here, you might see yourself and the world in a way you can't unsee. And trust me, the last revelation in this journey is the one most people can't handle. Most people live inside a well-built illusion. From the moment we're born, we're told how to behave, what's acceptable, what's good and bad. We learn very quickly that if we want approval, we need to act a certain way. And if we don't, we risk rejection. So we adapt. We mold ourselves to fit our families, our schools, our workplaces. We follow the rules, we play the role, and we tell ourselves, this is just life. But Nietzsche warned us, this isn't life, not real life. It's repetition, a loop, a pattern passed down for generations. People inherit values, behaviors, and beliefs without ever stopping to ask, do I actually believe this? Does this really feel true to me?
So let me ask you, are you actually in control of your life? Or are you just playing a part that was assigned to you before you were even aware of it? Nietzsche's philosophy is an invitation. It's a challenge to rip off the mask, tear down the illusions, and stare directly at the raw truth of who you really are. He spoke of something called the Übermensch, the higher self. But this higher self doesn't just appear. You can't fake it. It only emerges when you have the courage to destroy the false identities you've been living with and create your own meaning from the ground up. But here's the truth. That transformation, it's not comfortable. It's not neat. It's not follow these 5 steps and you're enlightened. It's a confrontation, sometimes a violent one, with the parts of yourself you've spent your whole life ignoring. And that's where we get into something psychology calls the shadow. This was a concept that Carl Jung developed, but the seeds of it are in Nietzsche's work. The shadow is everything inside you that you don't want to admit is there. Your secret desires, your fears, the thoughts that make you uncomfortable, the parts of you you've labeled as unacceptable and shoved into a locked box in your unconscious mind.
Now here's the dangerous part. Locking the shadow away doesn't make it vanish. In fact, the more you deny it, the stronger it becomes. Have you ever caught yourself doing or saying something that completely shocked you? Maybe you lashed out in anger you didn't know you had. Maybe you felt an urge to do something reckless or destructive. That's your shadow, and when you ignore it long enough, it finds its own way to get your attention. Nietzsche understood this long before modern psychology put a name to it. Those who refuse to confront their own darkness will eventually be controlled by it. Think about people who are overly good. They never speak up, they avoid conflict, they live to please others. Sooner or later, they either explode in rage or collapse into despair. Why? Because their darker impulses, their ambition, their aggression, their primal instincts, they've been suppressed for so long, they rot and fester under the surface until they can't be contained anymore. Society tells us, be polite, don't be aggressive, don't rock the boat.
But Nietzsche didn't see our primal instincts as evil. He saw them as powerful forces, forces that can be dangerous, yes, but only when they're denied or ignored. When you reject parts of yourself, you create a split. One version of you smiles at the world. The other version fights for space in the shadows. And living with that split is exhausting. It drains you. It fuels anxiety. It makes life feel flat and meaningless.
So what's the alternative? Radical self-awareness. To become who you truly are, you have to be willing to look into your own mind without flinching. You have to question every belief you've inherited about right and wrong, success and failure, about who you are and what the world is. But I'm warning you, this isn't the easy road. You'll feel discomfort. You'll feel uncertainty. You might even face moments of pure existential crisis. But if you stay with it, if you keep going, you'll come out the other side transformed. And this brings us to something Nietzsche understood that most people still don't. Inner peace isn't the ultimate goal. That's right. Most of us have been told we should aim to be at peace with ourselves, as if the highest form of life is one where there's no inner tension. But Nietzsche saw it differently. He believed that inside every human being, there's a battle, a struggle between what you are right now and what you have the potential to become. You've felt this before. Part of you wants to break out, take risks, and push boundaries. Another part clings to safety, routine, and the familiar. That pull, that tension, isn't a weakness. It's life itself. The great individuals aren't the ones who get rid of the conflict. They're the ones who use it, who channel it, who let it push them forward instead of hold them back. Nietzsche once wrote, "You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star." That's what he meant. The person chasing perfect peace might just be running away from themselves. The chaos? That's your fuel. The first step isn't to try to erase it, it's to accept it. To realize the self isn't one neat, fixed thing. It's a battlefield. Your job isn't to shut down the battle. Your job is to fight it in the right direction. Most people are terrified of change, not because they love where they are, but because change means destruction. Think about it. To truly change, you can't just add new habits on top of old ones. You have to dismantle the old structure, tear down the parts of yourself that no longer serve you, end the relationships that hold you back, leave behind the careers or identities that keep you small. And that's scary because destruction hurts. We cling to outdated versions of ourselves not because they bring us joy, but because they're familiar. Comfort gets mistaken for happiness. Security gets mistaken for meaning. But Nietzsche was crystal clear. If you want to become something greater, you have to be willing to destroy who you've been. He didn't see the Übermensch, the higher self, as some final perfect version of you. He saw it as a process, a constant state of becoming, an endless cycle of breaking yourself down and building yourself back up. Imagine a sculptor standing in front of a massive block of marble. If he's afraid to chip away at it, afraid of the destruction, he'll never create anything. But if he's willing to break the stone, he can shape something extraordinary. That's your identity. And the question is, are you willing to break pieces off to reveal what's underneath? Now, this is where the pain kicks in, because letting go of who you used to be means stepping into a space where you don't yet know who you're becoming. It's uncertainty at its purest. This is the point where most people give up. They feel the fear, they feel the loss, and they run back to what's safe. They fall back into old habits, old beliefs, old patterns, because even a miserable life feels safer than an unknown one. But here's the difference. Those who keep going, those who push past that fear, they experience transformation.
And that transformation brings us to the third and most dangerous principle of all, the one society desperately hopes you never figure out. You are not a fixed being. You are the creator of meaning. Most people think meaning is something you find, like there's a treasure chest out there with your life's purpose inside, waiting for you to stumble upon it. That's the trap. That's the illusion. People spend their lives searching for meaning in religion, in culture, in tradition, hoping something outside themselves will give them the answers. Nietzsche shattered that illusion with one of his most controversial statements: God is dead. Now, that wasn't just a simple rejection of religion, it was a warning. The old sources of meaning, the absolute truths handed down by religion or tradition, no longer hold the same power they once did. And when those external anchors collapse, something terrifying happens. You realize there's no universal script for your life, no cosmic blueprint, no predestined purpose. Meaning isn't handed to you, you have to create it. And that's why this idea is dangerous, because the moment you truly understand it, you become free. Free from society's expectations, free from the limits you've been programmed to believe in, free from needing anyone's permission to live the life you want. But that freedom comes with a heavy responsibility, because if there's no ready-made purpose, then you alone are responsible for shaping what your life becomes.
No excuses. No, it's just the way things are. No hiding behind someone else's rules. This is why Nietzsche saw the Übermensch not as some mythical end goal, but as a way of living. The Übermensch doesn't wait for meaning to appear. He forges his own values. He walks his own path. He isn't driven by guilt. He isn't controlled by fear. He doesn't live for other people's approval. He's driven by his own vision of what life should be. But let's be honest, this path isn't for everyone. Most people would rather live inside the safety net of pre-packaged answers than face the reality that they're holding the pen to their own life story. And that brings us to the moment of choice. Will you keep living inside the comfort of illusions, or will you step into the unknown, embracing the chaos inside you and using it to create something greater? Because if you choose the second option, you're going to have to face something Nietzsche described with one of his most haunting metaphors: the abyss. The abyss is everything you've avoided: your fears, your insecurities, your suppressed desires. It's the unknown part of yourself. Most people think the abyss is their enemy, but Nietzsche saw it differently. He said, if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. In other words, the abyss is a mirror. It reflects back the truths you've been running from, the lies you've told yourself, the potential you've been too scared to claim. When you look into the abyss, you strip away the roles you've been playing, the beliefs you've borrowed, and the illusions you've clung to. You stand face to face with yourself, raw, exposed, and more powerful than you ever realized. And here's the paradox. Once you face it, you realize the abyss was never there to destroy you. It was there to transform you.
Here's the hard truth. Most people will never take that step. They'll get close to the edge of the abyss, feel the fear, and turn back. They'll retreat into the familiar, old routines, old roles, old illusions. Why? Because comfort feels safe. Routine feels safe. And safety is addictive. But if you're still here listening to this, it's because you feel it. Something inside you knows there's more to life than what you've been told. You sense that there's a version of you that's stronger, freer, more alive. The choice is right in front of you. Will you stay in the comfort of illusions, or will you step into the unknown? Will you keep playing the role you've been assigned, or will you write your own story? Will you let society define you, or will you define yourself? And here's the thing, you don't make this choice just once. You make it every single day. Every day is an opportunity to awaken. Every day is an opportunity to transform. Every day is a chance to become more of who you truly are. That's the core of Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch. The higher self isn't a destination. It's not a perfect final form. It's a process of constant self-overcoming. It's the courage to destroy who you were in order to become who you're meant to be. It's the willingness to embrace the chaos inside you and use it as fuel. It's the power to create your own values and your own meaning in a world that often feels empty.
The Übermensch doesn't wait for someone else to hand them purpose. They make it. They don't follow the herd. They cut their own trail. They don't fear the abyss. They stare into it, unflinching, and allow it to shape them. And if this message is resonating with you, if you feel that spark, that desire to awaken, to break free, to live without the chains of someone else's script, don't ignore it. The world doesn't need more people who blindly follow the rules. It needs more people who are willing to step into the abyss, to confront their shadows, to forge meaning where there was none before. It needs more Übermenschen. And you don't have to do this alone. Share this with someone you know who's ready for change. Build a community of people who are committed to growth, to self-discovery, to transformation. Support each other on the journey, because the path is hard, but it's worth every step. If you're ready to start, you don't have to overhaul your life in one day. Start small. Question one belief you've always held. Face one fear you've been avoiding. Take one step toward the person you know you could be. Because transformation isn't a lightning strike. It's a series of deliberate choices made over and over again until they shape you into something new. And before we close, I want to leave you with this. You are not who you think you are. You're not the roles you've been given. You're not the labels that have been stuck on you. You're not the expectations that have been weighing you down. You are something deeper, something greater, something freer. You are the creator of your own reality. You hold the pen to your own story. And the question is, what are you going to write? Will you keep reading from the script someone else handed you? Or will you start from a blank page? Will you hide from the abyss? Or will you face it and let it show you who you truly are? The abyss is not your enemy. It is your mirror. And once you gaze into it, you'll never be the same again. So stay curious, stay courageous, and whatever you do, keep staring into the abyss.